On the 9th of June, the eyes of the sporting world will turn to Germany, where the 18th World Cup finals will be kicking off in Munich. Here on the road to Germany, we'll be looking at the players, the managers, the fans and the cities that make the World Cup the greatest football tournament on the planet. Group A features host nation Germany, Central American hopefuls Costa Rica, the red and white shirts of Poland, and in only their second World Cup, Ecuador. Host nation Germany, one of the powerhouses of world football and have 3 World Cup victories to their name, but they also have the distinction of having lost 4 finals, more than any other country. However, it appears the memory of the last defeat in 2002 has been swept away in a wave of World Cup fever.
Ich denke, dass allein schon jetzt nach dem Confederation oder vor dem Confederations Cup, dass die Euphorie einfach da war im Land, dass jeder freut sich drauf, jeder Fan, wie Journalist, wie Spieler, Trainer, alle freuen sich drauf, dass es endlich dann zu einer Weltmeisterschaft kommt im eigenen Land.
As host nation, they are the only team to qualify automatically for the tournament, but this has a downside. No proper competitive games for 2 years. Nevertheless, the German team is kept busy playing some of the world's top teams in a string of friendlies.
In Deutschland ist ein harter Kampf diese Plätze, die man dann für die Weltmeisterschaft hat. Und da musste auch jeder kämpfen, jeder beweisen in jedem Spiel, auch wenn es nur ein Freundschaftsspiel war, dass mit zur Weltmeisterschaft will.
Germany certainly proved that with a 3-0 thrashing of Cameroon. And then followed a string of highly entertaining draws against Argentina, Russia, the Netherlands, and then a narrow defeat to reigning champions Brazil. These games not only gave coach Jurgen Klinsmann the confidence to book hotel rooms for the final, but proved to the world that Germany, with the right leader, can also have a good team. No one personifies Germany's desire to win more than Bayern Munich's Michael Ballack, captain and inspirational leader of the team. Up front they are very strong too, with Brazilian-born goal machine Kevin Kurani and fellow striker Polish-born Miroslav Klose, who plays for Werder Bremen. And in between the sticks is their formidable keeper, Oliver King Kahn. Of course, being host nation is a huge advantage for the home team, but that brings with it a pressure of its own. Do Germany have what it takes to make it all the way to Berlin on the 9th of July?
Ja, es ist ganz normal, glaube ich, dass man immer Druck hat als Fußballspieler. Wenn man so ein Land ist wie Deutschland, wenn man gute Spieler hat, dass es schwer wird, ist auch ganz normal. Aber ich glaube, mit der Hilfe der Fans haben wir ganz gute Chancen.
Having already made 2 appearances at the World Cup finals, Costa Rica are no strangers to high-level, high-adrenaline football. But they'll need to draw on all their talent and experience to better their best ever result when they finished in the top 16 at Italia 90. No team has fought harder than the Ticos for their place in this summer's tournament. A dismal start to their qualification campaign saw them winning only 4 out of 11 matches. More worrying still, they were soundly defeated by both their major opponents, the USA and Mexico. In a desperate effort to revive their chances, coach Jorge Pinto was replaced by the man who had steered Costa Rica to the 2002 finals in Korea and Japan, Alexandre Guimaraes. His return brought about an immediate change in fortune. Wins against Guatemala, Panama and Trinidad and Tobago were sweetly capped by this crucial clash against the USA. A goal from Paulo Wanchope and 2 from Carlos Hernandez secured victory and a place in this summer's finals. A tough qualification they may have had, but Costa Rica is still a force to be reckoned with. With a proven track record under Guimaraes, there's enough experience in the team to make their opponents sit up and take notice. Veteran captain Yafet Sofo will be keeping a watchful eye on things from midfield, while their undoubted star, Paulo Wanchope, will be on a mission to score goals. The veteran striker is retiring from international football at the end of the campaign, and he's certain to want to go out with a bang. It promises to be a thrilling summer for Costa Rica. Their first match will be the biggest they've ever played, taking on hosts Germany in the opening game of the tournament in the FIFA World Cup Stadium on June 9th. And who knows, they might just pull off the first big upset of the summer. Although Poland have only qualified for the World Cup final 6 times, they do have an impressive record, finishing 3rd in 1974 and 1982. But there's been some lean years since then, and in fact this is only the 2nd time they've made it through since 1986. But Poland are no easy prey. They've made the finals after a classy performance in the preliminaries, which saw them win 8 out of a total of 10 matches. Their only bogey team was England, who defeated them both home and away to pip them to the top spot in the group. The main threat in Pavel Yanis' side comes from the prolific goal-scoring partnership of Żurowski and Frankowski, the man the fans call the goal hunter. Providing worthy support in midfield is Jacek Krzyżanowicz. Meanwhile, taking care of business in front of goal is Jerzy Dudek, who won a European Cup winners' medal with Liverpool last summer in Istanbul. Although they have the task of meeting hosts Germany in their group, Poland should be pretty confident of getting through to the second round. However, to expect anything beyond that may be a little optimistic, but opposing teams will be wise not to write off this side. Having fallen at the first hurdle in their inaugural World Cup finals in 2002, Ecuador and their Colombian coach Luis Suarez will be hoping to go further in Germany.
La gente muy contenta por lo que ha sido calificar 2 veces seguidas a la Copa del Mundo. En la Copa Primera en Japón era aprender, ahora ya es a competir.
Playing their home games in front of fanatical fans and at high altitude gave Ecuador the advantage and saw them unbeaten at home. Their campaign saw them beat South American heavyweights Argentina and Brazil.
Por ahí el más importante fue que el que jugamos con Bolivia en Bolivia, que por ahí teníamos la pauta de ganarlo y gracias a Dios ganamos, que conseguimos esos 3 puntos.
The game in Bolivia was Ecuador's solitary away win and left them only needing a point in their final home game against Uruguay to qualify. Agustin Delgado was the hero against Bolivia, scoring both goals, but he isn't Ecuador's only star man.
Antonio Valencia fuerte, rápido y puede ser una buena promesa. La selección de Ecuador, el equipo, los jugadores han motivado a todo el país. Es un país pequeño con muchos problemas, pero el fútbol ha dado un equilibrio, una visión, una motivación. En Japón nos faltó un punto para estar en la siguiente fase. Ahora ya no es Ecuador visto bien solamente competir, sino pasar la siguiente fase y llegar lo más lejos.
Comenzamos desde el día de mañana a pensar lo que se va a hacer en la Copa del Mundo, siempre y cuando mentalizarnos que ahora Ecuador es un rival muy fuerte que quiere cosas importantes en este nuevo mundial.
Munich is the capital of the Bavaria region. 1.5 million people live here and it is one of the wealthiest German cities. Aside from being a home to high-tech industry, Munich is a very popular tourist destination and will be particularly busy in the World Cup months of June and July. The city boasts a collection of world-class museums, theatres and parks. The city was also home to many famous artists such as Kandinsky, Strauss and Ibsen. Munich's lavish Maximilianstraße is the place to see and be seen. Its countless designer boutiques and expensive restaurants are exclusively frequented by an ever-growing contingent of Germany's rich and famous, who choose to call Munich home. Munich is a very traditional city, and this is reflected wherever you go. The Hofbrauhaus is the most popular of Munich's many beer halls. Staff still wear traditional costumes and serve traditional Bavarian beers. The band plays every night, and everyone is welcome to dance. Completed in late 2005, the futuristic Allianz Arena has replaced the old Olympic Stadium as home to both Bayern Munich and Munich 1860. The 66,000-seater stadium will host 6 World Cup games in total. It will also be witness to the opening ceremony on the 9th of June as Germany take on Costa Rica. Since reunification, a wind of change has been sweeping through the former East German city of Leipzig. Like much of the former East, Leipzig has been witness to a flurry of activity and development as they try to catch up with the West after 45 years of communist control. And in the last 15 years, the city has seen dramatic change, and with the introduction of Western traits, shopping centres and global brands have descended upon Leipzig. Much work is also being done in preparation for the World Cup finals, as the population of 500,000 ready themselves for hordes of visiting supporters. Remnants from Leipzig's communist past are everywhere, and many buildings still lie derelict with their owners never returning from the Second World War. Further reminders of Leipzig's rich history are abundant. Richard Wagner lived in Leipzig and wrote many of his finest works here. Leipzig was also home to Johann Sebastian Bach. His influence is still felt in the city, and it seems almost impossible to walk down the street without musical accompaniment. Johann Wolfgang von Goethe is another of Leipzig's famous sons. He spent most of his life here. Coffee shops are everywhere in Leipzig. The most famous of these is the Coffee Baum. During the communist years, the walls of this coffee house were bugged by the secret police, as it was a well-known meeting place for conspirators. On the outskirt of town lies the Zentralstadion. Newly constructed, the stadium cost 90 million euros and was a joint development between private investors and the people of Leipzig. It is hoped that the 38,000-seater stadium will attract thousands of supporters to the city and help further its continuing redevelopment. 5 matches will be played here, featuring the Netherlands, France, Spain and Iran. The stadium will also host a last 16 game between the winner of Group C and the runner-up in Group D. Group B seeds are the 3 Lions of England. They'll be facing World Cup veterans Paraguay, the new boys from the Caribbean, Trinidad and Tobago, and the Scandinavian machine of Sweden. England is the seeded country in Group B, but coming to the World Cup not having won a major football tournament of any kind since 1966. However, with a young team full of international stars, expectations are high, and not just among the fans.
Everybody realises that this is a very good opportunity for us to be very successful, and I think that's the reason why expectations are obviously higher than they normally are.
We have players. We've got the likes of Frank Lampard, Stevie Gerrard, that are top world-class midfielders. We've got countless centre-halves that you could fall back on, and I'd like to think me and Wayne up front would score the odd goal as well.
England's qualifying group looked like one of the easier ones, and Sven's men drew the first game and won the next 6, including this hard-fought victory against Wales. The result was finally settled in the 54th minute by Joe Cole, yet another of England's emerging young talents hoping to make their mark in Germany, alongside the young striking prodigy Wayne Rooney.
Wayne Rooney obviously is a key player for us, and not just for us. I think he'll be one of the stars of the tournament, and he's got special ability going forward and creating goals and scoring goals for himself. And if he has a good tournament, I think he'll have a very good tournament as well.
I think me and Wayne are different, you know. He doesn't like playing in the way I play, you know. He doesn't like running in behind defenders as much as I do and sniffing around trying to find a great opportunity to score. He likes sort of roaming behind and quite a free role. He scores his goals, but you know, we're totally different, and his strengths, you know, are totally opposite to mine, so that's why we probably gelled so well.
England had a momentary wobble against Northern Ireland, but normal business was to be resumed against Poland. Goals from Michael Owen, and then Frank Lampard ensured England's qualification as group winners, and with one of the best records in Europe. Things got even better when the World Cup draw in Leipzig was kind to England, and so Sven-Göran Eriksson and his team can take confidence from the knowledge that once again they are in one of the easier groups.
World Cup, you tend to get, you know, quite a soft passage to start with, and then it gets doubly hard against a lot of the top teams. So, you know, I think regardless of who we got on the draw, it was, you know, we would always be favourites to qualify, as you know, we were one of the top seeds.
I think it's a strong group. I think Sweden and Paraguay are very strong teams. They always qualify for the World Cup, and they always do very well. And so I think they all have good defence and good players going forward as well who can score goals. And I think obviously Trinidad and Tobago is the least favourite of all the teams.
I know if I could score 5 or 6 in the tournament, and everyone else could chip in with 1 or 2, then surely we've scored enough goals there that if our defence play just as they normally do, then you'd like to think that we could go quite far in the tournament. So yeah, it would be nice to win the Golden Boot and things like that, but I prefer to win 1 World Cup than 10 Golden Boots.
Germany 2006 will be Paraguay's third consecutive World Cup appearance, having narrowly been edged out by eventual winners France in 1998 and by 2002 runners-up Germany and Japan.
Paraguay en estos últimos 10 años ha logrado 3 clasificaciones a mundiales consecutivos. Cada vez las aspiraciones que tenemos son mucho más grandes de poder lograr grandes cosas.
Unlike their South American neighbours Brazil, Paraguay's success is not built on skill and flair, but organisation and discipline.
Ha mejorado mucho también en el posicionamiento de balón. En realidad que somos caracterizados por tener una muy buena defensa y salir muy rápido de contragolpe.
Paraguay's recent success has been reflected by the number of their stars now plying their trade in Europe's top leagues. But who are they?
Los jugadores que están jugando en Europa son piezas fundamentales para el equipo. Carlos Gamarra y Roque Santa Cruz serían la pieza fundamental del grupo, del equipo.
Having secured a shock silver medal at the 2004 Olympics, confidence is high for Paraguay's hopes on an even bigger stage.
En las Olimpiadas pasadas se ha ganado una medalla que nunca ha ganado Paraguay, entonces la gente también está más exigente con nosotros mismos.
Having taken an impressive 4 points from Argentina in South American qualifying, Aníbal Ruiz's side are ready to finally get past the second round, having fallen there in their previous 2 campaigns.
Me gustaría poder jugar la Copa del Mundo completo, jugar de titular con mi selección y bueno, después ver en qué posición podamos terminar.
Yet another nation playing in the World Cup finals for the first time. Trinidad and Tobago will arrive in Germany after a miraculous and dramatic qualifying campaign. Sharing in the drama was Port Vale midfielder Chris Birchall, born in Stafford, England, but under FIFA rules eligible for Trinidad and Tobago because his mother was born in Port of Spain.
We needed to beat Mexico on the last day and we just played out of our skin, and it was one of them days that Mexico didn't perform to the best, but we overachieved and we got the result and beat Mexico 2-1.
Mexico took the lead through Yami Lozano, but Trinidad responded through Coventry City striker Stern John, who scored the equaliser just before half-time. And a stunning winner with a half an hour to go. The celebrations were elaborate.
There was more or less pandemonium in the place, you know. Everyone knew that by beating Mexico and getting the playoff spot, we had a real chance of making history and getting into the World Cup. Both playoff games was a bit of caution, and when we played them first at home, we didn't really play to the normal ability that we did because we were kind of waiting to see what the team had to offer more or less, and then when we did see what they have, I think we went over there to their country and did what we had to do.
That historic win over Mexico meant a trip to Germany was almost in their grasp, but they had to win a World Cup playoff over 2 legs to get there. Opponents Bahrain secured a 1-1 draw in Trinidad, and with an away goal in their back pocket, they had the upper hand. But it was the tiny Caribbean football island that prevailed, thanks to giant veteran Wrexham defender Dennis Lawrence. Another historic victory and a true team effort.
I think that's why we've done so well in qualifying, really, because we've got a mixture of youth and the senior players. So, especially for me personally, playing in the middle of a Dwight, the experience he brings and the support he gives you.
Dwight York and others, you know, they bring a sort of calmness or sort of reassurance to the team.
Everyone knows Shaka from his days at Newcastle, and now he's at West Ham, and he's a great keeper.
I think they bring that older brother mentality to the team, you know, and it definitely helps us, those with the young players who are not coming up, like myself, Birchall and all of that.
The opposition they're most looking forward to? Of course, it's England.
We were thinking, yeah, we're going to get in England's group because most of us are playing out there anyhow, you know, and if we don't get England, we're gonna get Brazil, and it so happened that we ended up in England's group though.
Paraguay, South American, good footballing team. England, we know all about them, Wayne Rooney, Owen, so they'll be good quality. Sweden, it'll be a tough group for us.
I think that we're gonna go there and in our group and look to win all the games, you know, go there and try to do our best and to get as much points as possible, you know. It's not just to go there and just show up. We're going there to make it to at least the furthest stage we can.
If we can get off to a good start by either getting a point against Sweden or if we play out of the skin and get a win, that'd be amazing. But I think everyone in the Trinidad camp is looking forward to the Paraguay game because that's the last game, and I think we'll be going all out to win. And I think if we do play well, we've got a good chance in that one.
Traditionally Scandinavia's strongest team, Sweden have a proud record in the World Cup, having finished in the top 4 on no less than 4 occasions and were runners-up on home soil in 1958. The Swedes are making their 11th appearance in the tournament thanks to a vigorous qualifying campaign. Their main rivals in the group was a resurgent Croatia, but they also faced competition from elsewhere.
At a quite early stage we lost at home to Croatia, so we knew we had to you don't have that many games and you need to win most of them, if not almost all of them, and we had some tough games against Bulgaria and Hungary, but we managed to play well in them and go through anyway.
Sweden was strong enough to go through as the best runners-up, and there is a feeling in the squad that they're getting better all the time.
For quite some time now we have defended really well and played organised and we're physically strong, so we've got a few star players up front in Freddie Ljungberg and Zlatan Ibrahimovic and Henrik Larsson who can make a difference in a game. So we're getting more and more experience now of this championship, and I think that should mean we can hopefully raise the level a little bit and set our goals a little bit higher this time.
And not least because they've also been drawn in the same group as England for the 2nd World Cup in a row.
England, they've got a really good chance this time, and I think for next summer they will have a really good squad. They've got some really good players now and key players in the biggest sides here in England. So we won the group in the last World Cup where there was Argentina, England and Nigeria. So with the system we have played, we've been able to do well against all kinds of sides, European sides, South American sides, African sides. So that gives confidence, I think, rather than feeling you have to adapt to different kinds of playing football.
And they prove that their style of football works as they crush Scotland in a confidence-boosting friendly. 2 goals from Marcus Olbach. And 1 each from Johan Elmander and Fredrik Berglund. Easily saw off the opposition and points to an exciting future for a team in great form.
This is our 4th consecutive championship, and that hasn't happened many times before in Swedish history, and we have performed really well both in the championships and in the qualifying stages. So I think the expectations are high from ourselves and from the people as well.
Dortmund is a city made famous by its coal, steel and beer. More recently, the city has been undergoing a transformation, and as the heavy industry pulls out, a steady flow of media and communications companies have moved in. With the influx of these media, communication and high-tech companies, Dortmund's old buildings now share the skyline with sleek, modern office blocks. Much of the old city remains unchanged. However, Dortmund has seen a massive development at its heart, which includes an extensive shopping precinct. Train connections from Dortmund will carry you quickly around the country, with Cologne and Gelsenkirchen both within 20 minutes. Whilst the coal and steel industries no longer feature in the city, the breweries are alive and well. 1,500 outlets now sell the locally produced Dortmunder beer. The place to consume your Dortmunder beer is at the Sky Beach, a tropical beach bar recreated on the top of a 7-storey car park in the middle of town. Dortmund is home to Borussia Dortmund's Westfalenstadion, which was built next to the old stadium in 1974. The people of Dortmund are mad about their football, with more than 38,000 inhabitants actively playing for a football club. On the 4th of July, the 60,000-seat stadium will host one of the World Cup's prestigious semi-finals. It will also see games featuring Germany, Switzerland and favourites Brazil. Group C has already been dubbed the Group of Death, because up against Argentina will be the emerging force of first-timers the Ivory Coast, the rock-solid defence of Serbia and Montenegro, and the orange hordes of the Netherlands. Boasting a galaxy of stars that is a match for any team in the world, Argentina will be travelling to Germany hoping to forget their disastrous 2002 campaign and add to their 2 previous triumphs. During a rollercoaster qualifying campaign, Argentina relied heavily on their home form, impressively stretching their unbeaten home record to 12 years, and also comfortably beating world champions Brazil en route to securing second place in the South American qualification. Chelsea's Hernan Crespo remains the country's talisman, netting 7 times in qualifying. Highly skilled central midfielder Jan Riquelme plays for Villarreal in Spain, and alongside him is Esteban Cambacio, who left Real Madrid to join Inter Milan. However, despite having a squad most international bosses would be envious of, the nightmare of crashing out at the group stage in 2002 still looms large over this talented, if erratic side. And Jose Pekerman won't be taking anything for granted this time around.
Argentina va a ser uno de los grandes animadores del Mundial y siempre tiene ambiciones y con este nivel seguramente que va a ser un equipo muy importante.
Until 2006, the Elephants of the Ivory Coast had just one major achievement to their name, winning the African Nations Cup in 1992. But now, they've got something else to celebrate.
It's a great moment because it's the first time for the country to be in the World Cup.
So what is it about Henri Michel's team this time around that enabled them to secure qualification at the 8th attempt?
We got a better team than before. And with a lot of players playing in other country, we got great players like Drogba or Kolo Touré.
With the standards in Africa rising all the time, we can expect to be entertained by an exciting brand of football.
We are attacking team, We play every time in the front. I mean, maybe this is a problem, but we like to play in front. I mean, we are a lot of offensive players on the team. Now we are try to win every game.
They didn't quite manage to do that in qualifying, but the penultimate group game against West African arch-rivals Cameroon at least showed their attacking capabilities to the full. It was one of the most exciting matches of the African group stages. Achille Webo gave Cameroon the lead, and Chelsea's Didier Drogba drew the scores level. Webbo scored again deep into first half injury time. And then Drogba found the net again with a killer free kick. But it was Cameroon who took the spoils when Webbo scored his hat-trick and the winning goal with 5 minutes to go. But the Ivory Coast didn't think it was all over. The fate of yet another team went down to the last game, and Henri Michel's side won when it really counted. The Elephants stacked up a 3-0 lead through, first of all, Kangara Kaylee. And then a brace from Aruna Dindane made absolutely sure that they were through. So does the future look orange?
I think we got a good team, we got quality, and I think we just go to the World Cup to show people then Ivory Coast as a football team who's a great player and try to do the best.
The surprise package of the qualifiers, Serbia and Montenegro, topped a difficult group which included Spain and Bosnia. This is their first World Cup campaign as Serbia, having played as part of Yugoslavia until 2003. Failure to qualify for the European Cup in 2004 signalled the appointment of new coach Pekovic, and Serbia have not lost a competitive match since. Having kept 9 clean sheets out of 10 in their qualifying matches, Serbia's defensive backline will be hard to crack. The single goal conceded came at the hands of their closest rival Spain, who was still held to a draw by the Group 7 champions. Atletico Madrid star Matija Kezman's second goal cancelled out Raul's effort. Serbia's number 47 world ranking does not do justice to their recent achievements. They were one of only 7 finalists who were undefeated in their qualifying campaign, winning 6 out of 10 matches and drawing the other 4. Led by Inter Milan's Dejan Stankovic, and with 25-year-old 6'7" forward Nikola Zigic grabbing the attention, Serbia will hope to continue their unbeaten run through the finals. A nation traditionally so rich in footballing talent, the Netherlands have never quite managed to land the biggest prize of all. And worse than that, losing in back-to-back finals. The new, young Dutch side is being rebuilt by legendary striker Marco van Basten.
The people back in Holland also had big expectations of the qualifying group, but in the back of their mind, they thought, oh, maybe when they have new players, it will not be in the beginning as good as we hoped.
We play with very young players, and that's a good thing. So we are fresh and we want to learn something new.
We started with a whole new team. A lot of players stopped after Euro 2004 in Portugal because of the age, and so you have to build a new team, and it worked out fine.
Drawn in a very tough qualifying group, the Men in Orange kicked off their World Cup 2006 campaign in the Amsterdam Arena against the Czech Republic. As hard an opener as you could wish for, but the Dutch pulled off a decisive victory and stamped their authority on proceedings. Both the home team's goals were scored by Pierre van Hooijdonk, who tucked away 2 of the easiest chances he'll ever have.
But what a crit! This is Dirk Kuyt. Oh, van Hooijdonk! It's 2!
I think the first match was a key match. We started with 3 points because we had a difficult group. Because not only Czech Republic, we had with Romania and Finland in a group as well. So if you can start with 3 points, it's always very important.
Not only was their qualifying battle blemish-free, they also found the time to play a friendly against host nation Germany and scored an early psychological blow. It was also a good night for Chelsea's Arjen Robben.
Arjen Robben, Ruud van Nistelrooy, they can make the difference in the game.
Van der Sar, Philip Cocu, they are really experienced and they can read the game. And when you have to mix with a lot of youngsters who have a lot of skills, then you have something to go further on.
Romania were also on the receiving end of a Dutch masterclass, again led by Arjen Robben.
Mutu there, he took one touch too many perhaps. At the other end, it's Robben, and it's 1-0.
And assisted by the head of new Dutch star Dirk Kuyt.
And it's a great goal!
Qualification was finally secured with a fine win away to the Czech Republic, but they are now faced with an uphill task of trying to get through what is probably the toughest group at World Cup 2006.
Argentina as the favourite in the group, is for me they are one of the favourites to win the World Cup. Ivory Coast is, I think, in the moment the best team in Africa, and Serbia and Montenegro had the perfect qualification as well. They just conceded one goal and they kept in front of Spain, so they have to have a good squad. So I think it's going to be open which two teams will go to the next round.
The Dutch certainly have the talent to go through, but do they have the desire?
Every man's dream when you go to a World Cup is to become world champion. And that's what we want to achieve.
I think we've got the quality, but also it depends on luck. If you got your right strategy to play the other countries.
We lost one game now in 17 games, so yeah, the feeling is good, and we must grow into the tournament now.
In '98, in 2000, 2004, we reached the semi-finals, and hopefully we can go on further this year.
Cologne is Germany's oldest city and lies in the middle of the country about 65 kilometres east of the Netherlands. Built on the banks of the Rhine, Cologne is regarded as the engine of the German economy. Large-scale industrial development is commonplace in this region. Cologne is well connected, and many other World Cup 2006 venues are within easy reach using the cheap rail service. The Romans founded Cologne in 50 BC, and although largely destroyed in the Second World War, many historical landmarks still remain. None are more impressive than the imposing Gothic cathedral. The cathedral dominates the skyline of Cologne and attracts thousands of visitors each year. The riverbank area of the city is packed with cafes and eateries, all of which will be bristling with supporters in June. The Rhine Energy Stadium will host 5 World Cup matches. Home to FC Cologne, this 40,000-seat stadium also hosted games in the 1988 European Championships. In anticipation of the 2006 World Cup, the stadium was redeveloped at a cost of €110 million. The first match to be played there will be Angola versus Portugal on Sunday, the 11th of June. The skyline of the modern high-tech city of Frankfurt is dominated by office blocks and skyscrapers. Frankfurt is the financial hub of Germany and is also home to the European Central Bank. In fact, 83,000 people in Frankfurt work in banking. The main river, which is a tributary of the mighty Rhine, flows through the centre of Frankfurt. A tour boat is a great way to see this city, with many operating regularly in both directions. A large proportion of Frankfurt's population come from outside Germany. This gives rise to a culturally diverse feel to the city, and there are many film theatres, exhibitions and fairs to reflect this. Most of the old town was destroyed by bombing in the Second World War. However, enough remains to give an impression of what Frankfurt was like before the skyscrapers went up. The new Waldstadion has been built specifically for the World Cup, with €126 million being lavished on this magnificent arena. This 44,000-seat stadium is home to Eintracht Frankfurt in the Bundesliga. In June, thousands of supporters will be descending upon Frankfurt for the 4 group games and quarter-final which will be played here. The first match will see England take on Paraguay on the 10th of June. And other teams to play here will be South Korea, Portugal and a crunch game between Argentina and the Netherlands. Mexico were first out of the hat in Group D. They were followed by Iran, number 19 in the FIFA rankings. Another first-time African side, Angola, and the strongly fancied Portugal. Having hosted the World Cup twice and reached the finals no less than 12 times, Mexico are no strangers to this competition. This year they are in fine form, having secured their place in Germany with a great qualifying campaign. Reaching this year's finals was something of a cruise for Mexico. Ricardo Lavalplay's attacking side have found the back of the net a stunning 67 times. That's the largest haul of any team in the finals. Having scored no less than 14 of these goals, star striker Jared Borghetti has the honour of being the highest scorer in the preliminaries and has earned his place in history as Mexico's most prolific player ever. One of the most satisfying goals for the man they call the Desert Fox must have been this strike, which put his team ahead against the USA. Mexico went on to win the game 2-1, taking sweet revenge for being knocked out of the competition 4 years previous by their arch rivals. It was the Bolton player too who moved his team to within 1 point of qualification with his contribution to this 2-0 victory over Costa Rica. But before you start to think Borghetti is the only weapon in Mexico's arsenal, meet centre forward Francisco Fonseca. This 25-year-old has scored 15 goals in his last 20 games and put 4 past Guatemala to wrap up Mexico's storming campaign. Mexico will arrive in Germany ranked 7th in the world, but they might just be the dark horses of this tournament. They beat Brazil in last summer's Confederations Cup, proving they can hold their own against the best of them. Iran will have to beware when they come head-to-head with this formidable side on June 11th. Iran have previously appeared in just 2 World Cups, having only ever won 1 game, famously against the USA in 1998, and have never made it past the first round. With at least 6 members of the squad earning their living in Europe, most notably former Asian Player of the Year Ali Karami, the Iranians feel that they have assembled the best side in their history.
فوتبال بازی گروهیه و فکر می‌کنم بازیکن به تنهایی هیچ بازیکن نمیتونه مصمم ثمر باشه و این بازیکنایی که توی اروپا دارن بازی میکنن خب بازیکنای خیلی خوبی هستن و میتونن کمک کنن به تیم به بقیه بازیکن‌ها ولی روی هم رفته ما توی ایران هم بازیکنای خیلی خوبی داریم بازیکنای جوان خیلی خوبی داریم که فکر می‌کنم برای آینده فوتبال ما خیلی خوب باشن مصمم ثمر باشن و
And that future started with their successful qualifying campaign, which itself started slowly, with a 0-0 draw against Bahrain. But in the next game, Iran drew the first real blood in their group with a less than entertaining but hugely important defeat of main rivals Japan. Hero of that day was German-based striker Vahid Hashimian, who struck both of Iran's goals. That victory sparked a full-match winning streak that secured their finals place despite losing their last game in Tokyo.
گروه خوبی افتاده بودیم و فکر میکنم سخت‌ترین بازیمون بازی با ژاپن بودش که تو تهران انجام شد و فکر میکنم بیشتر نتیجه گرفتیم تا فوتبال بازی کردن ولی به هر حال هدفم این بود که به جام جهانی صعود کنیم و همینطور هم شد.
Iran's reward was a place in Group D, an intriguing gathering of teams representing 4 continents and 4 distinct football styles.
قسمت نشد ولی خب این گروهی هم که افتادیم توش گروه آسونی نیستش و فکر کنم که پرتغال و مکزیک که فکر کنم از آنگولا قوی تر باشن و فکر کنم بازی مشکلی برابر این 2 تیم داشته باشیم و ما تلاشمون رو میکنیم. امیدوارم که بتونیم از این مرحله صعود کنیم ولی خیلی مشکل سخت.
Angola are one of 4 African countries making their debut appearance at the World Cup finals. Surprise winners of a very tough qualifying group against experienced opposition.
Everybody was thinking that, of course, Nigeria was the big favorite in this group. And in Africa is difficult because only one team goes through. But we played very well. We can get a good result in Nigeria. And we beat them at home, and I think the team and the players they start to believe that they can do it, and this was the positive thing. They give everything what they have, and now we are there in the World Cup.
It seems that after many years of violence and political turbulence, Angola's success on the football pitch is a symbol of the country's new sense of optimism for the future.
The fact of the war is finished in Angola. People start to believe that Angola have potential, and to be in the World Cup, I think, is the best way to show the world how is our country, you know, which kind of good things we got there, and I think this is the right way.
Angola lost just 1 game in the group and were very strong at home, but had to wait until the last stages of the last game against Rwanda before they were sure of their fate.
Rwanda was the last in the group, and they don't have nothing to win, you know, in that game. And I feel a little bit the team was a little bit nervous because they know we have to win. There is no other result can help us, and it was a little bit difficult to handle because only in the last 10 minutes we scored the goal.
Rwanda hadn't come to the Kigali stadium to defend and made it hard for Angola, even hitting the crossbar in the second half. But with a little more than 10 minutes to go, Angolan hearts burst with joy when inspirational captain Aqua headed the goal that sent the team known as the Palancas Negras through to Germany in 2006.
Aqua is one of the best players. He's our forward, he's a striker. I think he was the guy that brings us to the World Cup, you know, because at the most important moments he was there to decide the games. You know, most of the players they play not in the first leagues. You know, we have a few players they play second league in Portugal. We have another players they play in Angola first league. As professionals, nobody wants to go there and lose. You know. And of course we want to go there and try to make the best result, that perhaps we get the points to go to the next step from the World Cup, and I think this will be a big thing for Angola.
For a country so renowned for the quality of its footballers, Portugal has a surprisingly poor record in the World Cup and has only qualified twice in the 40 years since famously finishing third in 1966. But at least this time, they jumped the all-important first hurdle, qualification.
really delighted to get qualified for the World Cup. Once more Portugal achieve it, and of course when the national team plays over there is a massive thing for all the Portuguese people, you know.
And with Brazilian World Cup coach Felipe Scolari at the helm, even after defeat in the Euro 2004 final, national football pride is on a high.
We have a very good qualification round to get to the World Cup because we play 12 games and we never get beat and drew 3 times.
And with a team chock full of top internationals, you wouldn't expect anything less.
We have Figo, Ronaldo, Deco, you know, Jorge Andrade, Miguel. I will start naming all the players, you know.
And the qualifying group looked like it would be a breeze after walking all over Estonia. And 9 unbeaten games later, after an initial hiccup against lowly Liechtenstein, their trip to Germany was confirmed. Benjamin Fischer embarrassed the home team in the first half. Faces went even redder when Figo blasted this penalty over. Before the natural order was restored, initially by Pauletta, and then decisively by Nuno Gomes with 5 minutes to spare. Cue the mad celebrations. Another piece of history was made in the final group match against Latvia when Pauletta broke Eusebio's all-time scoring record with 2 goals in 2 minutes. And the demolition job was finished in style by Hugo Viana just before the final whistle.
All of us going to be really motivated to be there, and one big thing to achieve is to play for your national team. Another big thing is to play in the World Cup or European Championship.
Hanover is one of Germany's 10 largest cities. It's a busy international trade centre which is also famed for its tranquil surroundings, baroque gardens, modern art, museums and fine entertainment. Largely destroyed during the Second World War, Hanover has been almost completely rebuilt, and the capital of Lower Saxony is now one of the most beautiful cities in Germany. Like much of Germany, the streets of Hanover are peppered with cafes and bars, and they will be packed to the rafters when fans from all over the world descend on Hanover for the matches that are to be played here. Artist Niki de Saint's sculptures preside over the famous flea market on the banks of the River Leine. Many summer festivals take place here. Art, carnivals and classical music all feature heavily in the traditional surroundings of the old town. The Niedersachsenstadion was completed in 1954. Home to Hannover 96 of the Bundesliga, it was also used during the 1974 World Cup. 64 million euros have been invested in modernising and refurbishing the stadium in preparation for the finals in 2006. It now boasts an all-seater 40,000 capacity. It's a very compact stadium which will provide a great atmosphere for the 5 matches that will be played here. Matches with Italy, Mexico, Croatia and South Korea will all feature, as well as one of the quarterfinals. The seeded country in Group E are 3-time winners Italy. They'll be joined by World Cup final debutants Ghana. For the USA, it's their 5th World Cup in a row, and the Czech Republic qualifying as an independent nation for the first time. Italy's trophy cupboard has been bare for more than 20 years, and the Azzurri go into World Cup 2006 ranked 12th, below such teams as Mexico, Turkey and the USA. Even if little is expected of Marcello Lippi's team this time, they feel there's still enough class in the squad to mount a serious challenge.
Adesso abbiamo costruito un gruppo vero, solido e grazie anche al mister Lippi credo che l'abbiamo capito anche noi, siamo consapevoli che solo con il gruppo e con la forza di squadra potremo andare avanti. E poi ce ne sono altri, tipo in Italia i Totti, Del Piero, non so, i Cassano, così, che possono, se riescono a star bene fisicamente in quel periodo, possono fare la differenza.
Italy's qualification campaign kicked off with a home tie against main Group 5 rivals Norway, and after a disastrous start they came back to win 2-1, after going behind to this John Carew goal in the first minute. De Rossi equalised just 3 minutes later. But it wasn't until late in the second half that Luca Toni scored the winner. But qualification wasn't going to be an easy task, and after a surprise defeat away to Slovenia, Italy travelled to Scotland under pressure to get back to winning ways. But an informed Scotland took an early lead. And out-of-form Italy had to wait until the 75th minute for their slightly fortunate equaliser.
Siamo usciti col pareggio in Scozia, un po' l'opinione critica ci ha un po' massacrati e siamo riusciti a reagire nel modo giusto.
After that slight hiccup, Italy secured qualification early on a balmy night in Sicily, thanks to local hero, Palermo defender Christian Zaccardo. The whole country breathed a sigh of relief, including Italy's record cap holder.
È una squadra tosta, c'è un grande entusiasmo, anche giocatori di qualità. Io credo che se arriviamo in questa condizione fisica e mentale al mondiale possiamo dire la nostra.
And Italy made an important statement when they hammered the Netherlands 3-1 in a friendly in Amsterdam. Should the rest of the world watch out?
Siamo sempre partiti con grande voglia, grandi obiettivi. Io penso che adesso siamo una squadra che è cambiata tanto, quindi andremo lì e vediamo cosa riusciamo a fare.
Sì, ci siamo qualificati bene, ci siamo qualificati come nel 1982 in anticipo e questo ci riempie di orgoglio. Adesso speriamo di imitare i nostri colleghi nell'82.
Second out of the hat in Group E are Ghana, who qualified for the World Cup finals for the first time in their history, and it's been a long time coming.
We never qualify, and if we look at the history, they say Ghana have good talent, but they never been to the World Cup. It's the dream of Ghana and also to the people that we qualify for the World Cup.
We are going to the World Cup now, and you can see us, Cameroon, Nigeria, they always in top. And now they can make it, and Togo, Angola, and other countries are making it, so you can see it's not easy. Everybody is developing now.
To this team that we have, I think all the guys, they are very, very humble, and I think if you have like 20 Maradonas, without unity, you can't make it. And I think that's the secret. Yeah, there's unity in the team.
Team unity aside, Ghana can also call on some star match winners too. Players like Chelsea's Michael Essien, captain Stephen Apaya, who left Juve for Fenerbahce. Sully Montieri currently banging him in for Udinese in the Italian league. And Matthew Amaya, Vitesse Arnhem's leading scorer last season. With only one African team per group going through, it was very important that the team led by Serbian coach Roatmir Jukovic got off to a good start. They beat Somalia 5-0 and 2-0 within 3 days, but then some local neighbours were less compliant.
Against Burkina Faso, and we lost 1-0. And we play against South Africa in Accra, and we win 3-0. I think there it started that we started having the feeling that we can make it, because in the history of Ghana we haven't won against South Africa before.
Steven, he also encouraged us. He gave us the confidence on the pitch and also outside the pitch, so that we don't have to fear. We have to pray as a team.
I can't make it alone, and at times I used to talk to them and I said, if we win together. It's not a victory for a captain. So I think I used to say those kind of words, and yeah, they take it, they hold it strongly.
But Ghana's fate wasn't decided until the very last group match, when they travelled to the remote Atlantic islands of Cape Verde. Ghana won in a 4-0 rout. The travelling Ghanaian fans celebrated in style and look forward to playing the best teams in the world.
I would be happy to play against the Italian team, because yeah, all the guys, they are my friends, and I wanted to challenge them because I've been there for 8 years. Soccer has changed and there's a lot of surprises. You can see what happened against France against Senegal in the World Cup. So I think that yeah, everybody is ready to prove something.
It's not easy to be in the World Cup at this moment. And if you are there, you have to prove yourself and show yourself that you can make it. And not much people are expecting us to do something.
It's going to be difficult because we don't have the experience. This is our first time. But I think with the quality of players that we have, I can say that we're going to win the World Cup, but we will cause surprises in Germany.
Joining Italy and Ghana in Group E are the United States, qualifying for football's biggest tournament for the 5th time in a row. In 2002, the USA made it all the way through to the quarterfinals, and ever since, they've consistently been in the top 15 of the FIFA rankings. They're looking forward to an even better World Cup this time around, and they've got a secret weapon.
One of the strengths about the team is, it's not really filled with proper sort of superstars, if you will. It's a very team-oriented group that we have.
We've had a good core of older players, and now all of a sudden these young guys coming up, some of them are just unbelievable.
Guy DeMarcus Beasley at PSV creates a lot for us, and I think when he's on our game, he adds a special dimension.
Casey Callery's been one of the best goalkeepers, in U.S. soccer history, and obviously he's made a name for himself in England and in Europe in general. And obviously Claudio Reyna at Man City, he's played tons of games. He's been, one of the best players that the U.S. has ever had.
And the USA are led by the best coach they've ever had. Bruce Arena is the most successful in their history, with the most wins, the best home record, the highest FIFA ranking, and the best showing in a World Cup since 1930. Arena led his team through a difficult qualifying campaign against tough Central American opposition, but went 5 games undefeated until this loss away to closest rivals Mexico. Eddie Lewis scored their consolation goal in a 2-1 defeat.
There's always a sort of an underwritten, feeling that the U.S. and Mexico are desperate to claim sort of the dominance in that region, and they had beaten us in Mexico City, and not only did we want to qualify, but I think sort of beating them back on our home soil would level things a bit, and I think it was a great night for us, and I'm glad both things happened.
It's tough going to Latin American teams and and play in their countries, because it's very, very difficult. So I think it's a lot harder than people think. But I think we always knew that if we played our best, we would be able to qualify.
The USA went on to win their qualifying group, and their World Cup 2006 preparations continue in the full knowledge that they've been drawn in one of the toughest groups.
I think we have one of the hardest groups in the World Cup, and we just have to go into it thinking we can win every game and try and improve on the last World Cup and improve on our on our ability to win games and put teams away, and hopefully that'll happen.
If we can reach the quarterfinals again, I think it would be amazing, and to go beyond that would just be a dream, really.
The Czechs have two things to celebrate. This is the first time they've qualified for the World Cup under their own name, and they do so as the country at number 2 in the FIFA rankings. Coach Karel Bruckner's team failed at the semi-final stage to live up to their billing as favourites for Euro 2004, and so this squad, brimming with talent, have a point to prove in Germany 2006.
Ich glaube, wir haben eine sehr gute Mannschaft, sehr gute Auswahl, technisch starke Mannschaft, und Baroš ist sehr schnell, Koller ist sehr groß und von daher sehr gefährlich. Dann ist Pavel Nedvěd wieder dabei, und ich glaube, wir haben eine sehr starke Mannschaft auch jetzt bei der WM dabei haben.
But the qualifying group was far from an easy ride. And in the first match, they were faced with the sternest test their group could offer, an away trip to the Netherlands.
Das waren beide sehr ausgeglichene Spiele gegen Holland. In Holland waren wir sogar Beste und unglücklich verloren.
The Czechs failed that test and then lost 2 more games in the group, which meant they finished second and had to endure a playoff against Norway. But then their biggest star, Juve's Pavel Nedvěd, decided to return to the national team. It couldn't have happened at a better time.
Es war eigentlich eine schwere Phase für Tschechei, wo wir uns für diese 2 Spiele gegen Norwegen waren wir sehr froh, dass Nedvěd dabei war.
The first leg of the playoff took place in Norway, and both teams made it clear early on that they meant business. There was going to be no easy passage to Germany. But amid the hard tackling and steely determination, there was a decisive moment when Vladimir Šmíč's header found the Norway net, which gave the Czechs both the victory and the initiative, and they won the second leg by the same margin.
Die tschechische Mannschaft hat, die wir haben, können wir etwas erreichen. Ich glaube, das Wichtigste ist, dass man von der Gruppe rauskommt, und dann müssen wir sehen.
The cosmopolitan city of Hamburg is the most northerly of all the World Cup 2006 venues. Nestled on Germany's North Sea coast, this historical city has grown up around a busy international harbour. The harbour has been welcoming traders from all over the world since the early part of the 10th century. However, come June the 10th, then it will be fans from Argentina and the Ivory Coast who will be flocking to this vibrant city. Like so many German cities, Hamburg underwent major reconstruction in the middle of the 20th century, and visitors will be treated to a marriage of new and old architecture. Hamburg is also a great place to relax and boasts a lavish selection of couture boutiques, restaurants and high street shops. For For those who prefer to leave the shopping to others, then a walk around the old town will reveal an insight into the city's colourful history and allow you to see some wonderful sculptures and statues. At night, you can be sure that those celebrating victory will be heading to the Reaper Barn. This is where the Beatles came to hone their talents before taking the world by storm, and it's still the place where all the locals go for a good night out. HSV Hamburg play at the AOL Arena. It is one of the largest stadiums in Germany, and it will be a fantastic venue for the 5 World Cup games that will be played here. Although the pitch is undergoing a bit of a tanning session, it's sure to be in great shape when the tournament kicks off in June. Located in the Rhineland-Palatinate of southwestern Germany, Kaiserslautern is one of the smallest cities to host matches for the 2006 World Cup finals. The population of 110,000 are likely to be overwhelmed by the visiting supporters, and the city has been racing to prepare facilities in anticipation of the fans from Australia, Italy, Spain and Paraguay. Kaiserslautern is a small, peaceful city with a provincial feel. Life here is slow, quiet and tranquil. The 11 Friends sculpture in the heart of the city is new for 2006 and is intended to illustrate the ethic by which all successful teams must abide. The Fritz Walter Stadium is perched on the side of the valley in which Kaiserslautern lies. Amidst the trees, the 41,000-seat stadium is named after the legendary German World Cup winning captain of 1954. The stadium, which has recently undergone a €48 million extension, will host 5 World Cup matches, the first of which will be Australia's game against Japan on the 12th of June. Group F features tournament favourites Brazil, Croatia in their 3rd World Cup. After last qualifying in 1974, Australia are back, and Japan, who were co-hosts in 2002. Five times champions, Brazil will be looking to defend their crown and will set a mighty challenge for their opponents. With a team that boasts FIFA's current World Player of the Year, Ronaldinho, as well as 2 previous winners, Ronaldo and Rivaldo, Brazil are favourites to retain their #1 world ranking with a 6th World Cup win. Brazil got off to a winning start in the campaign, and a 3-1 victory over rivals Argentina saw them briefly lead the table. However, Brazil spent most of the campaign trailing Argentina despite just 2 defeats in 18. Brazil were held to a stalemate at Bolivia in their penultimate game. Janino Pernambucano's free kick was cancelled out by Jose Castillo. This left Brazil needing a win in their last game to have any chance of finishing top of the group table, which they duly did, thanks to a superior goal difference. Brazil's star-studded lineup includes the rising talent of Robinho, in front of veteran defender Cafu and giant keeper Dida. Brazil's attacking options include Inter's intimidating striker Adriano. A staggering 35 goals in all qualifying games already speaks volumes, and Brazil show no sign of letting up in their recent friendlies. But with England and Argentina contesting more hotly than ever, will the Brazilians make it World Cup win number 6? Group F also features Croatia, who, having finished third in their first World Cup in 1998, will be hoping to reach even loftier heights following a disappointing showing in the last tournament, as well as dismal results in recent European Championships. And with a large travelling contingent of devoted supporters, the conditions are there for great things to happen for the Croatian team this time around. On paper, Croatia's qualifying group, which included Sweden and Bulgaria, looked to be a challenging and hard-fought one, but they came through it without losing a game. Things are looking good.
Jetzt haben wir gemacht in Gruppe mit Schweden, Bulgarien, haben wir bestanden den ersten Platz, sind wir direkt gekommen, alle sind gefreut, aber das reicht nicht für unsere Leute, weil wir wissen, dass wir haben eine gute Mannschaft und dass wir können was erreichen.
Leading the line for Croatia is Rangers striker Dado Perso. The defence is marshalled by Igor Tudor, who plays for Siena in Italy, and Dario Sna, playing for the Ukraine, who's renowned for his shooting program. The quality of Croatia's current crop was evident when they held world champions Brazil to a 1-1 draw. They've been drawn in the same group, so could this be a sign of things to come?
Wir haben eine gute Mannschaft und wir können viel machen. Für uns ist das Erste, dass wir wollen Gruppe überstanden und dann ist alles möglich mit ein bisschen Glück. Aber ich glaube an unsere Mannschaft und ich denke mit so einem Trainer wie Kranjčar, das können wir viel erreichen.
"32 years since their only previous appearance in the World Cup, the Socceroos' long wait is at an end. Denied so many times at the last hurdle, Australia have finally broken through and unleashed a wave of World Cup fever down under.
To make the World Cup for us after 32 years is a massive thing for the country, for the sport in the country, because we've always been second or third class sport down there, you know. Now that we've made the World Cup, everybody's just talking about soccer in Australia. To be honest, we've got a good attacking power. Obviously, you know, Tim Cahill, Harry Kewell, myself.
And the architect of Australia's success was Gus Hiddink, the man who guided South Korea to the semi-finals in 2002 and who guided his new Chargers through the dangerous waters that have so often sunk Australian hopes.
The Uruguay games, I think, were really, really tense. The fans were there, you know, they were magnificent. It's one of those things where, you know, you're really proud to be an Australian.
The first leg in Montevideo went the home side's way, and Uruguay took a 1-0 lead into the Telstra Stadium in Sydney. Mark Bresciano, who plays for Parma in Italy, scored in the 34th minute to bring the tie level and set up a dramatic finish. The tension was prolonged through extra time and agonisingly into the penalty shootout. History was made by Mark Schwarzer, who saved twice, and finally by Spanish-based strikers John Aloisi, who converted the winning penalty and set off unprecedented celebrations.
I think it's
that many years of frustration just taken away. Most people will remember that for the rest of their lives, that moment. I really don't know what it's going to be like once we actually get there, and I think we're going to be so excited. I think we're going to surprise a few people. I think we're all going to be focused, and when the Australian team is focused on their job, they're very difficult to play against.
After qualifying for the first time in 1998, this will be Japan's third World Cup in a row after they were co-hosts in 2002. Coached by Brazilian legend Zico, Japan are probably the strongest team in Asia at the moment, underlined by 3 Asian Cup victories out of the last 4. There is a strong league in Japan, but the best players are exported around the world. Most notably superstar playmaker and playboy Hidetoshi Nakata, who played in Italy for 7 years but is now at Bolton in the English Premier League. Another export to England is Junichi Inamoto, who was a regular in the West Bromwich Albion side and the engine room of Japan's midfield, alongside dead ball specialist Shunsuke Nakamura, currently at Celtic in the Scottish Premier League. Japan were the first team to make it through to World Cup 2006 after hosts Germany, but their qualifying campaign got off to a rocky start. Against North Korea they took an early lead, but were pegged back in the second half, and had to wait until injury time for this winner from Masashi Oguru. They lost their second game to Iran. But then back-to-back victories over Bahrain, the first courtesy of a fortuitous own goal, kept Japan on course. And goals from Atsushi Yanagisawa and Masashi Oguro secured a 2-0 win over North Korea, and with it, their passport to the finals with a game to spare. For good measure, they won that last game too, at home to Iran, to top their group with 15 points from a possible 18. Group F looks like a battle for second place behind favourites Brazil, but against informed Croatia and Australia, Japan will have to be at their very best to progress past the first round, and have to hope that Brazil will already be through when they face them in the last group game in Dortmund on June 22nd. The small town of Gelsenkirchen lies in the Ruhr region of southwest Germany, nestled between Dortmund and Köln. Gelsenkirchen dates back to the 12th century and was rapidly industrialised in the 19th century with the discovery of large coal deposits. This discovery heralded an era of mass iron and steel production which shaped this city into a thriving industrial heartland. Unfortunately, the last mine was closed in the late 90s, and Gelsenkirchen's small population now experiences one of the highest unemployment rates in Germany. However, as the heavy industry moved out of Gelsenkirchen, FC Schalke moved in. The impressive Veltins Arena was built in 2001 and represents a new generation of modern football theatres. The centrepiece is undoubtedly this remarkable retractable pitch. The playing surface spends most of its time outside the stadium to benefit from a shadow-free growing environment. It is then moved back inside for match days. This massive 44,000-seat stadium is breathing new life into Gelsenkirchen, which will be sure to benefit from the 5 World Cup matches that are to be played here. The first of which will be on the opening day of the tournament, when Poland will take on Ecuador. '98 champions France are the Group G seeds. They'll be up against Switzerland, who last qualified in 1994, 2002 co-hosts Korea Republic, who finished 4th, and West Africa's Togo, hoping to cause a few surprises in their first visit to football's elite. Having set the world alight with their victories at World Cup 1998 and Euro 2000, it was a shock when France crashed out of the 2002 finals without a win and without scoring a goal. France's golden period was definitely over. New coach Raymond Domenech was charged with the responsibility of rebuilding La Bleu and guiding them through to Germany, which proved to be a much more difficult task than the group lineup, which included Minnows Cyprus and the Faroe Islands, suggested. Domenech's team struggled to win, drawing half of their games. But they did manage this away win to Cyprus with goals from Sylvain Wiltor and Thierry Henry. But their critics back home savaged them for the modest margin of victory. The French eventually qualified as group winners, but their form was far from convincing. So the prospects for France again look poor. But when you have the attacking brilliance of France's forward line, led by the irrepressible Thierry Henry, then there is always a chance that they might take a few scalps. One thing's for certain, they can't possibly do any worse than last time. After failing to qualify last time, Switzerland made amends this time around by getting through the playoffs. Their recent record in the competition is poor, but over the years they have made the quarter-finals on 3 occasions. Manager Kobe Kuhn's side managed to go a year and 14 games undefeated, but it was a very tight group. They racked up 4 victories, including this 3-1 defeat of Cyprus, thanks to goals from French-based strikers Alexandre Frey, Arsenal defender Philippe Senderos, and Lille midfielder Daniel Gigas. But their 6 draws in qualifying destined them to finish second to France. This meant a nerve-wracking playoff against Turkey. It was to be a memorable night for the Swiss, who went into the second leg with a 2-0 lead. Things started really well when Frey converted this penalty after only 2 minutes. But the Turks hit back 3 times and looked to be going through. Until Stuttgart forward Marco Strehler tilted the balance back to Kuhn's man. The Turks scored again with a minute to go through Fenerbahce forward Tuncay Sanli, but the Swiss held out and went through to Germany on away goals rule. The team marshalled by skipper Johan Vogel look a good bet to make it through to the second round. Veteran keeper Pascal Zubabula barks out commands at the back, while youngsters like Arsenal's Senderos are making their mark on the international game, and Alexandre Frey shows a killer instinct in front of goal. Maybe this time they can pip the French to win the group. Korea Republic have been the powerhouse of Asian football for a long time and set themselves a nigh impossible benchmark for the World Cup 2006 after their stunning effort to reach the semi-finals last time around. But that was a distant memory during their stuttering qualifying drive, where they lost 2 and drew 1 of their matches. It sounded a note of caution. After opening with a home win over Kuwait in February, the then coach Joe Bonfrere's side were well beaten by Saudi Arabia in their second match, going down 2-0 in Dammam. Although they then defeated Uzbekistan 2-1 in Seoul. It took an injury time equaliser from debutant Park Chu-young to rescue a point in the return match in Tashkent. A 4-0 drubbing of Kuwait 5 days later secured their place at Germany 2006. But after a 1-0 home loss to Saudi Arabia in their final qualifier in August, Bonfrero resigned amid criticism of the team's lacklustre performances. The new coach is another Dutchman, Dick Advocaat, and he'll fancy his chances of taking second place in the group as he can call on some experience as well as talented players. Park Ji-sung, now at Manchester United, provides a genuine attacking threat from midfield. There are plenty of options up front meanwhile in An Jun Hwan, whose golden goal defeated Italy, and Lee Dong-guk, the top scorer at the 2000 AFC Asian Cup. Their rivals for second place, Switzerland, who last reached the quarterfinals in 1954, had better watch out. West African minnows Togo take up the final place in Group G and are one of the 4 African teams making their first appearance in the finals.
Everybody think Togo, nobody knows Togo before. Now everybody see you say, I come from Togo, they say, World Cup. They never know where is Togo. When you say Africa, they say, now we know.
Coached by former Nigerian international Stephen Keshi, Togo's magical journey began somewhat unimpressively. But after an opening day defeat to Zambia, the Sparrowhawks embarked on an impressive unbeaten run, which took them to Germany at the expense of World Cup veteran Senegal.
You have to surprise people. Togo is not Brazil or Germany or France. And if one country win, you know that, okay, maybe tomorrow they will remember that they play and they win against Togo. It was not easy.
After Munich, Nuremberg is the second largest city in Bavaria. Historically, Nuremberg was one of Europe's most important and culturally privileged cities. It was the unofficial capital of the Holy Roman Empire and residence to many German kings. Nuremberg was also home to the famous artist Albrecht Dürer, who was one of the founding fathers of the German Renaissance movement. The medieval Altstadt had to be almost completely restored following the Second World War. Now returned to its former glory, its many cafes, bars and restaurants are sure to be popular with visiting support. Home to FC Nürnberg of the Bundesliga, the Frankenstadion has been completely redeveloped for the 2006 World Cup. The total cost of the stadium's renovation is estimated at €56 million. The 44,000-seat venue will host 5 games during the tournament and will stage its first match on the 11th of June when Mexico take on Iran. Located in the Baden-Württemberg region of southwestern Germany, Stuttgart is one of the most opulent World Cup 2006 host cities. In fact, it's one of the richest cities in all of Germany, which is reflected in the palatial surroundings, expansive parks and decadent city squares. Stuttgart is host to several wine festivals every year, and this is bound to ensure that fans attending the 6 World Cup matches in the city will be in fine voice. The extensive indoor market here is also likely to be popular with visiting supporters. You can find foods here from all over the world and is a good alternative to the pricier restaurants. Stuttgart is also home to Mercedes-Benz. One of their largest factories is based here, as well as the prestigious museum. At the museum, they have almost every model of Mercedes that has ever been produced, ranging from the first motorised carriages to modern-day Formula One racing cars. The first match to be played at the impressive Gottlieb Daimler Stadium will be France versus Switzerland on the 13th of June. There will also be a further 3 group matches here featuring the Netherlands, Spain and Croatia. The 54,000-seater stadium will also host a quarter-final as well as a third-place playoff match. The last of the 8 groups features Spain. Ukraine appearing for the first time. Tunisia represent North Africa. And the Falcons of Saudi Arabia in their 4th World Cup in a row. European giants Spain have fought their way to the World Cup finals an impressive 12 times, but incredibly they've never won it. In fact, their best result came way back in 1950 when they finished 4th. Despite being the tournament's perennial underachievers, Spain are a squad packed with world-class talent. Up front are the explosive duo of El Niño Torres and Real Madrid and Spain captain Raúl. Adding to that formidable attacking force are the Liverpool duo of Morientes and Garcia. It adds up to an awesome scoring machine that managed to put away 25 goals in Spain's qualifying campaign, including 2 strike fests against San Marino, sounds good, but despite all the goals, Spain has had a tough fight to the finish. Although they remain undefeated since coach Luis Aragonés took control in 2004, the stats hide a disappointing number of draws. Like this one against Serbia and Montenegro. A superb header from Raúl put Spain ahead, but Serbia equalised. The Balkan side were on their way to automatic qualification, while Spain were destined to fight for their World Cup lives in a playoff against Slovakia. Their fate was sealed in the first leg in Bratislava, thanks to a Luis Garcia hat-trick. Additional goals from Morientes and Torres secured a 5-1 victory, sending them safely on to Germany. This is the 8th time in a row that Spain have made it to the World Cup finals. This time, coach Luis Aragonés promises to go further than they've ever gone before, all the way to the final, and with a team packed with so many quality players, there's every reason for them to believe that this might be their year. This is the debut World Cup finals appearance for the Ukrainians, who have never made it past the playoffs, losing to Croatia and eventual finalist Germany in successive campaigns. Ukrainian national team have never looked so strong since founding the Football Federation of Ukraine after the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991. Former European Player of the Year Oleg Blokin became coach and led them to top their qualifying group with 7 wins out of 12. Ukraine quickly went to the top of the table, where they remained throughout the campaign. They cemented their position with a 3-0 win in Turkey, Ole Husiev opening the scoring, and Ukraine's other former European Player of the Year, Andrei Shevchenko, bagged 2 goals. In a game which saw Bayer Leverkusen forward Voronin denied twice. And Andrei Gusin made it 6 wins in a row with a late goal against European Cup holders Greece. Ukraine's winning run came to an end with a late equalising goal from Georgia, but the draw meant Ukraine were the first European team, bar Germany, to book their place in Germany. Ukraine will expect to qualify to the second round of the competition, and all eyes will be on Andrei Shevchenko to break down a few defences along the way. Pioneering Tunisia are the only African team going to Germany with previous World Cup experience. In fact, they became the first African side to win a game at the World Cup finals when they beat Mexico 3-1 in 1978. This year, they'll be hoping to set another precedent, the first Tunisian team to make it to the second round.
I think we have to prepare very good because we are not, like a big country. We have 11 million people, we are not, so big. But I think now we make team, that we can we beat everybody with this team. And we have a good trainer, of course, Roger Lemaire. They make the team stronger.
And the 2003 African Nations Cup champions will be looking to their new generation of young stars to push them to the next level.
We have good players. I think the players, they are fast and they are strong physically. And our team, we don't have a lot, old players. All the players is young and they start now to go outside from Tunis,
Tunisia's growing talent pool includes Brazilian-born frontman Santos, Bolton-based defender Rihad Jahidi, striker Ziad Jazari, who plays for Troyes in France, and leading by example, skipper Hatem Trablisi, who plays his club football for Ajax. In a closely fought group, it came down to the last game against North African rivals Morocco to decide who would qualify, and the young Eagles of Carthage were equal to the test. In a thrilling finale played at the 7th of November Stadium in Tunis, Morocco opened the scoring after just 3 minutes. And another Brazilian player, Jose Clayton, scored the equaliser from the penalty spot 15 minutes later. But it was the visitors who were ahead at half-time, this time courtesy of some sloppy defending and Talhal El Kakour. The home team just needed a draw to go through, and qualification was finally won by Adeli Chudley's speculative cross that somehow went in at the far post. Tunisia are back at the World Cup for the 4th time and optimistic of their chances.
Now is the time, I think, for Tunisia to make step more, to show our football, to show the people that we are not team, we go there just to play 3 games and then we go back to Tunis. But if we get, there's good teams, we can play against them, I think that time we have to go through.
It's the 4th World Cup in a row for Group H outsiders Saudi Arabia. They surprised the football world in 1994 when they made it to the second round, upsetting Belgium along the way, although the Sons of the Desert will be hard-pushed to repeat that feat this time around. The Saudi team are dominated by players from 2 rival teams, Al Hilal and Al Ittihad, both 2-time winners of the Asian Champions League. Al Hilal supplies the Saudi striking partnership of veteran Sami Al Jaber and Yasser Al-Qatani, the country's glamour boy who cost a cool $10 million. While current Asian Player of the Year, defender Hamid Al-Montashari plays his club football for Al-Ittihad. Saudi Arabia qualified for the World Cup in some style, without losing a single game. A goal from Sami Al-Jaber on his international comeback earned them a 1-1 draw in Uzbekistan in their group opener. And they then secured a 2-0 victory over Korea Republic. They booked their ticket to Germany on 8th of June with a 3-0 home success against Uzbekistan, and ended their campaign in style 2 months later as Mohammed Al-Anbar's goal secured a 1-0 win in Seoul. Despite that record, Gabriel Calderon, the Argentine coach who guided them into the finals, has been fired and replaced by Brazilian Marcos Paqueta. We wish him well. Since reunification, Berlin has been rejuvenated by an injection of modern development and investment. The impressive Potsdamer Platz now stands on what used to be a derelict site next to the old East-West divide. This impressive development is typical of a wave of foreign investment that flocked to the Old East following the fall of the Berlin Wall. However, the western part of the city remains largely unchanged, with many poignant reminders of Berlin's recent history. Checkpoint Charlie still endures, although the soldiers have long gone and only their images remain. Berlin is a modern, vibrant metropolis, but the newly found optimism of the city has by no means led to the denial of its traumatic past. The Berlin Wall was dramatically destroyed in 1989, and a brass seal now runs the length of the old divide. However, in the middle of Potsdamer Platz, you can see one of the last remaining pieces of the wall itself. No matter what time of the day, Berlin is always busy and people are everywhere. Whether they are shopping, taking time out in a cafe or taking in the sights, it really is one of the frenetic cities in Europe. The famous Reichstag reflects the marriage of old and new which typifies Berlin today, and it is undoubtedly a fitting venue for the final of the World Cup 2006. The final, along with 4 group matches and a quarter-final, will be held here at the Olympic Stadium. A crowd of 75,000 will be on hand to try and cheer their teams to victory. Over the course of the tournament, 450,000 fans will visit the ground. On the 9th of July, all eyes will be on Berlin, as 2 teams will vie for the most coveted football trophy on earth.